Welcome back to Bookkast, Bestsellers in Minutes. All right, so today we are diving into Greenlights by Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, right.
Now, this isn't like your typical Hollywood memoir tell-all kind of thing.
Right, yeah. More of a playbook for life, I'd say.
Yeah, it's almost like he took his own life and kind of turned it into this philosophy, which is interesting.
Yeah, and a love letter to life, too.
Definitely.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like reflection and personal anecdotes and all that.
Yes, very personal.
Yeah, it's got this like, I don't know how to describe it. There's just this like McConaughey-ness to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like existential outlaw logic and fictitious physics.
Yeah.
Like, what is going on?
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about some of his wild experiences, because, I mean, this guy almost drowned as a kid because his mom threw him into a river to teach him how to swim.
Right. What?
Like, what?
Talk about a baptism by fire.
Right. That's just the tip of the iceberg, though.
Yeah.
Led his soccer league in red cards as a goalie.
As a goalie.
As a goalie, can you imagine? And then built a 13-story treehouse from stolen lumber.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, come on.
13 stories. That's incredible.
Where are you getting that much lumber?
Right.
So I'm sensing a theme here a little bit.
Definitely, yeah. There's a clear pattern of pushing boundaries and testing limits for sure.
It seems like he's not afraid to bend or maybe even break the rules a little bit.
Yeah, not afraid to get his hands dirty or get into a little trouble along the way.
So are we saying all these things, even the ones that seem like detours or even mistakes, were actually these like green lights in disguise?
Well, that's the whole premise of the book, right?
Yeah.
McConaughey looks back at these events and sees how they actually propelled him forward in life.
Okay, but how?
Well, each challenge, each obstacle forced him to adapt, to think outside the box, and trust his instincts.
So it's like those experiences, even the crazy ones, were shaping his worldview.
Absolutely, and giving him the tools he needed to navigate the unexpected.
I can kind of see that. But can we all apply that to our own lives?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, most of us aren't building skyscraper tree houses.
Right, but it's not about the specifics. It's about recognizing that challenges, even failures, can be opportunities for growth.
Okay, so instead of seeing them as roadblocks, he's saying, look for the lesson, the green light, hidden within the setback.
Exactly. Turn those red lights into yellow lights.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
But how do you actually do that?
Right.
It's easy to say, look for the lesson, but what if you're just feeling frustrated or lost?
Well, McConaughey would probably say you need to embrace the absurdity of it all, you know? Just roll with the punches.
Okay.
He tells this great story about his teenage acne treatment with this stuff called oil of mink.
Oil of mink.
Oil of mink.
What even is that?
It sounds ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
Like, who thought that was a good idea?
Right.
Well, it backfired spectacularly, and instead of clear skin, he ended up with massive boils all over his face.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it was bad.
That's awful.
But here's the thing. Instead of letting it defeat him, he found the humor in the situation, and his dad being the opportunist, that he has sued the Oil of Mink company.
No way.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's classic McConaughey, right?
It really is.
Like turning lemons into lemonade.
So they turned this negative experience into a chance to fight back, to find a silver lining.
Exactly. Shifting that perspective, turning a red light into a green light.
Okay, so we're embracing the unexpected, we're finding the humor in setbacks, and we're looking for the lesson. I'm starting to get this green light philosophy. But what about those times when you really feel lost? Like you're stuck at a red light and there's no way to go.
Well, McConaughey had one of those moments when he was an exchange student in Australia.
Australia. Sunny beaches, laid-back vibes.
That's what he thought.
Yeah.
But he ended up in this tiny town, miles from the beach, with a host family that had very different ideas about American culture.
This is the mom and pop story, right?
That's what?
Where he refused to call his host parents mom and pop, even though they insisted.
Yeah, he was sticking to his values even if it made things awkward.
Imagine being a teenager in a foreign country trying to navigate all those cultural differences.
It must have been so uncomfortable, but also a powerful lesson in staying true to himself.
Right, even when it's difficult.
Exactly, and that discomfort, that clash of cultures, was a green light in its own way.
Okay, I can see that.
It forced him to adapt, to learn how to communicate and connect with people from different backgrounds.
Skills that he's obviously used throughout his career.
Oh, absolutely.
And life.
Yeah.
So it's like that experience, as challenging as it was preparing him for future successes, building resilience, empathy. But it's not all about adapting, right?
Right.
Sometimes you have to stand your ground, fight for what you believe in.
Absolutely. And that brings us back to Texas. Remember that bar fight story?
Oh, yeah. Defending his father and earning his respect in the process.
Intense, right.
That was intense.
Yeah.
It showed his loyalty to his family and his willingness to fight for what he believed in, even if it meant breaking the rules.
Sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Okay, but was getting into a bar fight a good thing? How does that tie into this green light philosophy?
It's not about condoning violence.
Right.
It's about understanding that sometimes you have to stand up for yourself, for your values, even if it means going against the grain.
Well,
For McConaughey, that fight was a turning point in his relationship with his father, a moment of mutual respect and understanding.
it's like a rite of passage.
Yeah, and it seems to be a recurring theme in his life, these moments where he's tested, challenged, and ultimately emerges stronger.
And that leads us, I guess, to another pivotal moment, his decision to switch from law school to film school.
Huge.
Yeah, that must have caused some friction with his family, especially his dad.
Especially with a dad like his.
Right, but there's something inspiring about someone pursuing their passion, even when it goes against expectations.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a classic green light moment.
Yeah.
He recognized that law school wasn't the right path for him, even though it was the safe choice. He listened to his gut, took a risk, and found his true calling.
Okay, so we've got this adventurous upbringing, a strong family bond, a healthy dose of rebellion, and a willingness to break the mold.
Yeah, he's a unique guy.
Yeah, so what happens next on this green light journey?
Well, let's just say Hollywood wasn't ready for the reconnaissance.
Sorry.
He landed his first major role in Dazed and Confused, and who could forget Wooderson?
That is a classic.
But then came the shirtless rom-com phase. And while those movies brought him fame and fortune, they also put him in a box.
So even success can be a kind of red light.
Oh, absolutely.
How do you break free from that?
That's where things get really interesting. Stay tuned for part 2.
Okay,
We're right back.
see us then.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we left off with McConaughey kind of stuck in this like shirtless rom-com box.
Yeah, he was getting typecast.
So how did he break free?
Well, it's interesting. He realized that to grow as an actor, he needed to step outside of his comfort zone,
Right.
even if it meant risking his whole career.
That's a scary thought to walk away from a successful formula,
Totally.
especially in Hollywood.
Yeah.
So what prompted that change?
He talks a lot about feeling creatively stifled and he just wanted to challenge himself as an actor.
Okay.
And that meant saying no to those safe, predictable roles.
So another green light moment was actually saying no.
Exactly. Sometimes the path forward means you got to take a step back,
I see what you mean.
reevaluate your priorities.
But is that enough to like shift people's perceptions? Like how do you go from rom-com heartthrob to serious actor?
It takes more than just choosing different roles.
Yeah.
You got to bring a new level of depth and authenticity to your work.
Right.
And that's what he did with Dallas Buyers Club.
Oh, man.
Powerful performance.
His portrayal of Ron Woodroof was incredible.
Yeah.
Like you could really feel the weight of that story.
Oh, absolutely.
The human cost of the AIDS epidemic.
I could feel it.
It was his
Sure.
eyes.
Yeah, it was really something.
And he lost a significant amount of weight for the role, really immersed himself in the world of the character, right? It was more than just acting.
Way more.
It was embodying a real person's life.
And he even spent time with Ron Woodroof's family, listening to their stories.
Wow, that's dedication.
Yeah.
So it's no surprise he won an Oscar for that role.
Yeah, it was well-deserved.
Definitely a turning point in his career for sure.
For sure.
And wasn't True Detective another one?
Oh, yeah.
Like his character Russ Cole.
Oh, my gosh.
So complex, so different from anything we'd seen him do before.
Yeah, True Detective really solidified that transformation from,
Why?
leading man to respected character actor.
Yeah, he wasn't afraid to play a character who was flawed, troubled, even unlikable at times.
Right.
But there's something fascinating about those darker, more nuanced roles.
Yeah.
Like we're seeing a different side of McConaughey.
A vulnerability.
Yeah, a vulnerability we hadn't seen before.
And I think that willingness to be vulnerable, to explore those darker emotions,
Yeah.
it makes his work even more compelling.
For sure.
It's a reminder that even the most successful people have their struggles.
It makes you wonder, did he go through a similar period of soul-searching in his own life?
Well, he does talk about going through some dark times,
Okay.
spending time at a monastery, grappling with his relationship with fame.
Yeah.
He even had a falling out with his mother.
Yeah, it's heavy stuff.
Yeah, it sounds like he was really wrestling with some big questions.
About life and purpose.
Yeah, about identity and what truly matters.
So it's like he was going through his own dry spell,
Mm-hmm.
not just in his career,
Right.
but in his personal life as well.
But those experiences, as painful as they were, They seem to have been crucial to his growth.
It's like he needed that time to really figure things out.
Yeah, to recalibrate.
And speaking of dry spells, he actually chose to step back from Hollywood
Right.
at the height of his career. Why would he do that?
Well, remember the green light philosophy?
Yeah.
It's not always about pushing forward. Sometimes it's about recognizing when you need to pause, to reevaluate, to make sure you're still on the right path.
So this wasn't a career slump.
Yeah.
It was a deliberate choice to step back and reassess.
100%.
That takes a lot of self-awareness.
It does, especially when you're surrounded by the pressures of Hollywood.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's a reminder that success doesn't always equal happiness.
That's true.
Sometimes you have to walk away from the things that are no longer serving you.
Even if they seem glamorous or lucrative.
Yeah.
But how do you know when it's time to walk away?
That's the million-dollar question.
Right.
How do you distinguish a temporary setback from a sign that you need to change course entirely?
Exactly.
Well, McConaughey talks about this concept of catching green lights.
Okay.
And it's more than just recognizing opportunities. It's about having the courage to act on them, to trust your instincts and make those tough choices, even when you're not sure where they might lead.
So it's not just about seeing the green light, it's about trusting yourself to go for it.
Exactly. Even if it means taking a leap of faith.
And that brings us to another turning point in McConaughey's life, meeting his wife, Camila.
Ah, yes, Camilla.
So how does love fit into this whole green light philosophy?
Well, McConaughey describes their connection as this, magnetic attraction, this sense of knowing that they were meant to be together.
Right.
But even the start of their relationship had its share of bumps. Remember the story about their first date?
Oh, yeah, her car got towed.
Right.
It's like life was testing them right from the start.
But they made it through, and now they have this beautiful family together.
It's a great example of how even those seemingly red light moments
Right.
can lead to something amazing if you're open to the possibility.
Exactly. You got to keep the faith.
So for McConaughey, meeting Camila seems to have been a major green light.
Yeah, a game changer.
I'm curious, how did their relationship influence his career?
That's a great question, and one that we'll explore in part 3.
All right, so we're talking about McConaughey finding love with Camila amidst this whole career roller coaster. It seems like a classic green light moment. But how did their relationship actually affect his choices, his work?
Yeah, it's interesting because you can tell Camilla is this grounding force in his life. She supports his ambitions, but keeps him connected to what actually matters,
So she helps him find that balance between going after his passion and nurturing those important relationships in his life. Wow. But did he ever worry about losing momentum in his career?
Totally.
I mean, Hollywood is notorious for forgetting about actors who step away.
Oh, yeah, even for a short time.
Right, even for a little bit.
Yeah, he talks about that fear, actually, the pressure to stay relevant and keep chasing those big roles. But then he realizes that real fulfillment doesn't come from external validation.
So it's not about fame or fortune. It's about finding that inner peace, aligning your actions with your values.
Exactly. And for McConaughey, that meant focusing on his family, creating a life that felt authentic and grounded, even if it meant doing fewer projects or turning down roles that didn't feel right.
There's a real sense of maturity in that decision. It's like he finally understood that success isn't a straight line.
Right.
It's about finding your own rhythm, your own definition of what it means to make it.
I love that.
Me too.
Yeah.
And he even embraces the idea of failure as a necessary part of growth.
Oh, yeah. He talks about how those red light moments, those setbacks and disappointments actually led him to unexpected green lights.
It's like that saying, sometimes you win, sometimes you learn.
Mm-hmm.
But McConaughey takes it a step further. He sees those quote-unquote losses as opportunities for course correction.
Exactly.
Valuable lessons learned.
He even jokes about how his biggest career slump was happening at the same time as some of the happiest years of his personal life. It's a good reminder that success is more than just professional achievements.
That's such an important message.
Yeah.
Especially these days where we're constantly bombarded with these perfect lives and flawless careers.
Oh, I know.
It's so refreshing to hear someone embrace the messiness,
Yes.
the ups and downs as part of the journey.
And that's the beauty of his whole green light philosophy,
Yeah.
It's not about avoiding challenges or pretending that life is always perfect.
Yeah.
It's about finding the good, even in the midst of difficulty.
It's like he's saying, life's going to throw you curveballs.
Yeah.
You decide how you handle them.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's something we can all learn to do?
Oh, absolutely.
To shift our perspective and see those red lights as potential green lights?
It's a mindset shift. Instead of getting stuck in the negative, we can choose to look for the opportunity, the humor, even
Yeah.
in those tough moments.
It's like turning those what-if questions into what-now statements.
I love that.
Right.
Yeah,
Instead of dwelling on the past, we can focus on what we can do to move forward.
exactly. And that's what makes McConaughey's story so inspiring. He's achieved incredible success, but never lost sight of what really matters: family, love, connection, and living a life that feels true to him.
So Greenlights isn't just a memoir. It's a guide to navigating life's ups and downs with intention, gratitude, and humor.
And a little bit of that McConaughey magic.
Definitely. So there you have it, another bestseller unpacked in minutes. Remember, Bookkast is your shortcut to literary enlightenment. Until next time, keep those pages turning.